Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Conscious Connections Radio with your hosts, Veronica Torres and Sue Trainer, sharing insights and explorations of the channeled teachings of Elohim and the Council. Call in and join the conversation, 909-202-8674. And now, here's Veronica.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. I'm very excited to have you all with us today for our second show. We're going to do a show on money today. We're going to talk about what Elohim has said recently about money. We're going to talk about our experiences with money, and we're going to take your calls so you can talk about your experiences with money. It's such a big subject, huh?
It is.
It's crazy. It's just everywhere. I love how Elohim says, anybody you look at has some money. Maybe a little, maybe a lot, but everybody out there has some money. And I've loved how they in the past have said, if we told you that the Ascension is in New York, you would find a way to fly to New York to get Ascension, and how we would reassign our money usage so readily if we thought it was going to give us what we wanted to get and have those experiences in that way. And I don't know, it's always entertaining to me to see my own journey around the ways money has affected me in my life. And of course, it's a question that comes up in the group a lot and in private sessions a lot too, because it's just in all parts of our lives.
I'm sorry, I'm sitting here in stunned silence because the topic of money, I realize, just scares the pants off.
And what scares you about money?
For me, it is such a deep trigger, and I feel it in the pit of my stomach. Just in this conversation, I feel panic in the pit of my stomach. I recognize that everything survival related in my world relates to money, and has ever since I was about 5. It is a long sordid tale.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to try to grapple with it and try to digest what Elohim has to say about it and make it work for me.
Yeah. It's huge. And what's funny for me is when I was younger, I used to go a lot to flea markets and garage sales. We did that a lot as kids. And as I got older, my family had an antique store. So we spent tons of time doing that. That was just, that's how you got your inventory, right? And I remember so clearly negotiating a guy down from 10 cents to 5 cents on something. That was my lowest point. That was the moment when I stopped and went, oh, my God, you need to fix this, because that's just sad, just really, really sad. So I just count that as the bottom of my journey with money. And, I mean, I remember negotiating a guy down from $1 to 50 cents. He was like, I only go to $1. I don't like to deal with change, so I take $1. That's my lowest price on anything I have because I don't want to deal with a bunch of change. And I was like, I only want to pay 50 cents. And I wasted God knows how many minutes of my life trying to get that guy to take 50 cents for that dollar thing. So I've been there. I've been there at that point where it feels so desperate, and you feel just like there's no answer here other than desperation. Yeah.
And I think, one of the things we need to talk about today is the difference between what's actual. For instance, I am not close to starving. I'm not close to the debtor's door. But there are a lot of people who are and who may be listening to this. So differentiating between those two.
Yeah.
And how we can help both sides of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is a good point, because most of us the people who come to the group and the people who are participating in the Elohim material tend to be people who are roughly middle class. That seems to be the general statement of the group of people who come. And it isn't common for us to have people who come that are at the debtor's store to the material. I think sometimes having time in your life for spiritual pursuits is sort of, on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've got to have a few of the basic ones covered before you have extra time to spend saying, what do I want to contemplate my trigger rather than going to my third job today?
Right.
Yeah. So that is true. And I think Elohim's teachings can apply to lots of people of different income levels, although people at those extremely low levels where they are working 3 jobs, like I said, I don't think they necessarily have the available mental space to contemplate spiritual growth in the way that folks in the middle class and upper class do. And that's a blessing of this time, is that, as Elohim likes to say, we don't have to farm to feed ourselves. We don't have to farm to feed ourselves. And so we have extra time because we can go to the grocery store, we can go to the restaurant, we can get food right now, and we don't have to spend all day long making sure that there's food for tomorrow. Whew. On that note, let's hear what Elohim has to say about what money actually is. This is a clip from our new program. We have this new series of programs called Conversations with Elohim, where roughly once a month we collect up questions from folks on the Internet on specific subjects, and then we offer them to Elohim and get their thoughts on a whole topic. And we just did that on money, and here is what Elohim has to say about what money is. Money has the properties that it is assigned. Because it is used by everyone, or nearly everyone, it has a collective consciousness state associated with it. And that's why often money ends up being considered low vibrational or considered negative or considered all these things. And oftentimes the way it is moving in your society is that way. Because if you take the lowest common vibrational denominator, that can be pretty low. And because people attach so much fear and survival and anxiety and worry around money and the way money is used and the way money moves in their lives, it can leave people feeling like money has a life of its own and has an energetic of its own. In the most healthy relationship to money, it's pieces of paper that have been designated as modicum of exchange. In the most unhealthy relationship to money, it's a force that controls you. And people run on a spectrum between those two states. So that's what Elohim said when we asked him, what is money? And I think it's a really interesting point, because when we asked everybody online to submit questions about money, a lot of them really gave money a personality, as if it's, Jim down the street. There were a lot of assigning personalities to the idea of money and deciding that money has almost this sense of acting in their lives. People asked, well, is money evil? Does money do things to me? And it was almost like it was this little devilish imp running around the world causing problems. So I thought it was really good that Elohim clarified right at the beginning. Let's be clear. Money is a form of exchange. Modicum. I thought that was a weird word. I hope it means what they think it means.
Well, I realize I see it as an authority figure now. It's totally telling me what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's hard to move around in that space when the authority figure is inspiring so much fear.
Yeah. That's interesting. So there's like an equal sign between authority figures in general, preachers, teachers, bosses, dads, and moms, and money.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, folks, we'd love to take your calls and discuss what you're thinking about money. Our call-in number is 909-202-8674. Go ahead and call in if you want and get in the list of folks. We do have someone holding. Let's see who that is and see what they have to say. Again, 909-202-8674. Get in the queue, and we'll talk to you about money. Hang on. Hello, caller from area code 678. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good.
Do you have a question for us today? What would you like to add to
No,
that?
actually, I wanted to listen to what the Elohim has to say about money.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then I'll put you back on hold. Thanks for joining the show.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Blog Talk has this cool feature where you can use your phone to listen. You don't have to use your computer to listen, and I didn't know about that until one of our friends here in the circle told us about that. She's like, oh, yeah, I called you on my iPhone, and I listened. And I was like, oh, you can do that. How cool. Yeah, so money is an authority figure.
Yeah.
Telling you what to do, telling you what you can do, telling you what you can't do. And when you have the situation that so many of us have been in where you say, you know, I want to do something like go on a vacation, let's say, and I also want to pay my rent, and I don't feel like I can do both of those things. If you start to feel like a victim of that, you're down the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard part, is you start to go down a path that says, I have no solution here that is going to support me getting both of the things I want. Because I believe that the authority figure money says it's either or. And you can either convince yourself that that's true, which is very easy to do, or you can say something like, well, I don't feel like I can do a big fancy European 3-week extravaganza, but maybe I can go to the beach for a night or 2 nights and give myself a break, refresh and reboot, and maybe open to insight about other ways to bring in money.
So as a form of exchange, if you have no money because you've been working 3 jobs, but you still don't really have enough, how do you rise above that feeling of instability and panic?
Yeah. I don't know if I know the answer to that question, to tell you the truth. I know when I was in really tight financial positions, much earlier in my life, I've been really, 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 really broke. And at that time, all I could think about was I've got to keep doing what I'm doing or do more of what I'm doing. Nowadays, when I look at my financial picture, which of course goes up and down like crazy because I'm self-employed doing the Elohim work, and there's no paycheck that comes in, right? It's just based on what people participate in. I find myself, when I think I have to do, or I think I have to force or push or freak out, the income always drops off.
Right.
And when I go with what fascinates me, when I work on the projects that fascinate me, when I present to the community information that fascinates me, when I come from that place, the income goes up. That said, the major change in my income picture happened at the end of last year, about 3/4 of the way through last year, when I just reached out to the community and said, I need help. And it was the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've done recently, because I wasn't able to keep up with pretty much my tax payments was the thing that was sinking me. When you're self-employed, you pay a lot of tax, and you have to pay it quarterly ahead of time, and I couldn't do it. And I was really suffering with that knowledge that I could eat, I could have a house, I could drive my car, and I couldn't pay my taxes. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that's an authority figure on top of an authority figure, right? Yeah. The IRS is going to get me. And I never had not paid my taxes on time before, so it was that big I'm no good trigger that came up. And finally, I just got really, really, really vulnerable. And I wrote this email to the community, and I just posted it on Facebook. I still can't believe I did that. And afterward, for 4 hours, I alternately felt like I had stepped in front of a bus and stepped back just in time, and like the breeze had, you know, the bus had brushed against my nose kind of thing, and I cried. So I went between those two states, flip-flopping for 4 hours, and it was hell. But after that, my income went up, even though I don't feel like I did anything different. And I was able to pay my taxes, catch up on my taxes, and so for me, the answer came in vulnerability, in just opening up and saying, this is the truth. This is the situation. If people value the work, I need financial contributions to continue offering it. And before that, I never wanted to admit that out loud because I was too afraid people would say, well, you suck at doing the Elohim work because you don't have all the money you need. That was hard. So I don't know about the person working 3 jobs. And I do know that for me, when I got that desperate, in my own version of it, the way I got through it was by opening up, being very vulnerable to admit the truth to myself and to others, ask for help, and then to keep asking for help. Keep letting people know. Keep being consistent.
Right.
But, those 4 hours were rough. That feeling, that survival instinct feeling of I almost got hit by a bus.
Right.
When all I did was send an email. The body. I tell you. That makes me want to say what Elohim says about the money real quick. Let's play this little clip since the I suck word came into the conversation. Hang on, let's hear what Elohim has to say. The fact of money is a medium of exchange that you have a whole bunch of stories built around. And those stories can be examined one by one. One of them is, money sucks. Money is a piece of paper. Does piece of paper suck? No. Piece of paper doesn't suck. So what does suck? Is your relationship to the piece of paper suck? Oh, now we're getting closer to it. So you believe you suck because you're generating a sucky relationship. Now we're there. How do you break the equal sign? Stop thinking you suck. Stop thinking that something's wrong with you because you don't have amounts of pieces of paper that you wish you had. Well, there you go. Don't think you suck. You're not sold on that one. I can see it on your face. You're like,
It may not be exactly my not interpretation, but it may not be exactly that issue for me.
Yeah. What's your version?
There's a lot around. Well, maybe it does boil down to that, but there's a lot around. I'm making the wrong choice. I'm not paying attention to something that's going to get me. That's all survival. But I know you mentioned about the sort of opening up vibrationally or energetically to it. And one of the stories I had when I moved to California recently was I have a very tight budget. And so I had a little spreadsheet where I was keeping track of what everything was costing me. And, you know, I was keeping track of everything, how much stamps cost. You know, I kept, and I kept, as I started focusing on this spreadsheet each month, I started having more and more expenses that were higher and higher, like thousands of dollars. The final one was a $3,000 root canal and crown that I absolutely had to have done. And that was kind of the tipping point for me where I realized I could not do a spreadsheet. I was closing off so tightly to a flow. Because every time I would look at that spreadsheet, I would start gasping and going, I am so over budget. Like, I am just so over budget, thousands of dollars. And what am I going to do? And once I just stopped, then the outgoing flow definitely stopped. And my panic stopped for a while. I mean, it's still, I regurgitate it every day and have to sort of work with it about just calming down and deep breathing and knowing I'm not going to die tomorrow because I don't have any money and things like that. But it's powerful force. Reminding yourself of what the actual truth of your situation is. Right. Yeah. A lot of what is true now. Now I'm just fine. That's what is true now.
I did find myself doing something similar where I was keeping track in a way that's similar to what you were, and I found that very, very limiting. Yeah. Some folks that know me know that I have a belief that $50 bills breed in my purse because I've had $50 bills just appear in my purse magically. So I know that financial managers will say keep really good track of your cash because that's how you show respect to money. And I have sort of the free love version of that. I'm like, I won't keep very close track of you and have much sex and many $50 babies in my purse. So it's really common for me to open my purse and find money in there that I didn't know was in there. Now, whether I forgot, whether it showed up, whether what, I don't know, and I don't care, and I don't try to hold on to it that tightly. So for me, it's a lot of fun to let that happen and to be surprised by that. And once or twice I've been surprised the other direction where I thought there was money in there, but countless scores of times it's been the vice versa. Okay, so we have a caller. Let's see who wants to talk to us, huh? Hello, caller from 970 area code.
Hi.
How are you?
This is Sally. How are you?
Hey, Sally. We're doing great. We're talking about money and, working it out together. How about you? What would you like to talk about? How would you like to add to this conversation?
I'd love to I have some input, but boy, oh boy, am I having your topic is very timely for me in that I'm having a very serious money crunch. And for the first time, I really don't know what to do. And usually I get a insight because I also am self-employed. It's up and down and that sort of thing. But I really didn't expect to see myself here. Where I absolutely have just about no money, and I have to manifest money immediately. And it affects my house, my food. We're talking pretty basic, but yet at the same time, I have I'm in a position where, tomorrow or today I could, there could be a lot of money. And quite frankly, that has happened as well in this past year. But it's not moving right now.
Yeah, that whole thing of holding into it's not easy. This topic is challenging to talk about, even as we're sitting here. I know Sue feels challenged and I feel challenged. And the thing that worked for me is all I can offer, which is the idea that holding into what you said is, money can come in lots of different ways to me. And, Elohim has this tool called the money mantra, which is, I am in financial flow and money comes to me in infinite ways. And they gave us this exercise that actually feels like it might be helpful, which is to make a list of all the different ways money comes to you and to include things like finding coins in the washing machine or finding money laying on the ground and all the way up to the different ways your self-employment generates income, and not to just say, well, I get paid for sessions or I get paid for, people buying insurance policies, but to write down specifics about as many different ways that money comes into your life as you can think of, and to have fun with it, and then to be able to look at that and be in a magnetized place around all those different ways that money can come to you. What does that do for you?
Intellectually, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can't feel it right now because it's so extreme.
Yeah.
And it's so extreme that I know I have to keep breathing. A lot throughout the day.
Yeah. What is your career? What is your type of job you have?
Real estate.
Yeah, you're real estate. That's not an easy one, huh?
Well, there's a part of me, and this could be a little bit of judgment too. It isn't an easy one, but it's what I do and I like it and I understand it,
Mm-hmm.
And it's my internal work, which is, or that is why there's no flow. It's not because of real estate. It's not because of the market. It's because of me. Or that's the way I look at it.
Well, that's good to know, right? And so then you can focus in on shifting your relationship to it rather than feeling like you're at the mercy of the market. You can start shifting your relationship to the situation. You said you still enjoy doing real estate?
Yeah.
Who are you mad at? I feel like you're mad at somebody in your real estate life.
I'm angry right now because I'm in this situation.
Yeah. But do you
Well,
there...
you know what else is really interesting is my dad just passed away.
Oh.
And a lot of the work that I have done on my personal work has had to do with him.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely feels to me like there's somebody in that whole mechanism of money coming to you through real estate that you're mad at. And it feels like a male, but I don't know if it's your dad. I mean, Elohim sort of floats around right now, but I'm not channeling, so they're better at this than I am. But the truth of the matter that I'm feeling is that somewhere in there you're mad, and that mad is telling you that it's like it seems to be blocking your magnetism of the money coming into you. And do you have a male boss? Do you have a male boss?
I have no boss.
No boss.
Other than my father. Does that make any sense?
Oh, it does to me.
See, it's the father that said, you can't do real estate, you can't do this, you can't do that. You see what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there was a lot of lack in the family, just the mind, that thought form.
Yeah, sure. It sounds like maybe you could let those thought forms go with him, right? Go pass out of your life as he has passed out of your life. I would make a list of the thought forms, the ones that you just said, and all the other ones you can think of. I would make a list of those thought forms, do a little ceremony about it, burn it, tear it up, throw it into the wind, do something that says, I love you, Dad. You were part of my life. I'm not saying I don't, but I am not going to take these thought forms ahead in my life that you gave me. Because it really feels like that's the block that I'm picking up, at least.
And there's a huge block in my body. I can feel it right now. It's like it's not okay to ask for support.
Mhm.
There's that, too. And I have to ask for support.
Well, and, what's your dad supposed to do? Support you, right? So it's like maybe you feel like you can't get...
Oh, but he would, he'd go into a rage if I asked him for support. You see what I mean?
Yeah, there's a whole tie-in with him, isn't there? Fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
Okay.
Appreciate you calling the program.
Oh, thank you for having the program.
Yeah. Best of,
right.
Well, you never know what to say, but I hope it changes for you. How's that? Is that a good thing to say? I hope
That's
it changes
wonderful.
for you. Okay. Thanks for calling.
It has to, otherwise I won't be here.
Well, then that's good, strong. What Elohim would say is that's good motivation, right? That's good motivation.
Yes, it is.
To focus on it and nothing else and concentrate on shifting your energetic. But, yeah, I felt that father, that male authority figure energy very strongly, so I think you're absolutely right that that's a good path to track down.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
good care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Dads, authority figures, money, they all are intertwined in us, aren't they?
Security.
Yeah. And in that case, like the dad in the family, a lot of times, obviously she didn't sound like she was 10, so she's of that generation where dads still kind of were the provider, maybe. At least in the waning time of that being a sole provider kind of a thing. So you look at your dad, yeah, you're supposed to provide for us. And if the dad provides rage energy when you say, I need support, if you make an equal sign between that sort of support and money giving you support, which ties in very nicely to our next little clip from Elohim. Here it comes. In fact, some of the people who have a lot of money don't feel any more abundant than you. Abundance is not based on the numbers in your bank account. Abundance is based on looking into your world and feeling supported. Money can make you feel supported, but it also scares the crap out of you. Not a very good support to put your I need to feel supported on. What else makes you feel supported in your journey? Cooking good food, moving your body around, the love of people and animals in your life. What else makes you feel supported? When you lump it all on money, it's like when you're in a relationship and you lump all of your emotional, entertainment, companionship needs on your partner. You guys know how well that turns out. Helene cracks me up. You know how well that turns out. Yeah.
That clip really resonates for me. it's just amazing how there's no other in my life, despite all the, I have children, despite all the love and all the caring that I know people have for me, I feel like things will collapse if I don't pay attention to that money in the bank. Mm-hmm. And just, where am I getting that support from in my life to focus so narrowly on just these numbers?
Yeah.
It's amazing. And once, for me, thinking of that last caller, I know that getting out, and maybe she's doing this, but getting out into nature, Elohim's talked about looking at abundance in a lot of different ways, looking at the leaves on the trees, looking at the snowflakes, just opening up and having, there's a bit for me about faith that I am supported. And it's not all just me that has to support me. That it's not necessarily airy-fairy, but, it's also things like family, or it's best friends who might have a couch. So if worse came to worse, I am supported in all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
But it takes a constant what is true now. Constant what is true now. What is true now is I have a place to stay.
Yeah.
And I am safe now.
Yeah. And that coming back to this moment being the truth that you're in rather than the projection, or as Fred was telling us during a recent channeling, we've only got the past to tell us how to do the future.
Right.
If we don't just be in the moment. And I don't want my past to tell me my future.
Right.
10,000 bazillion %. That one I'm sure of. What else do we have? We have the moment, insight, opening to what fascinates us. That's what we have. Tell you what, folks, let's have a little song, take a little break. If you want to call during the song and get in the queue to join the conversation, the number is 909-202-8674. Just be on hold during the song, and we would be happy to take your call when we come back. Now, I work with 10 Foot Tone. It's a local Sonoma band, and we had some great songs from them during our last show. And here comes one of my favorites called Time Is Not Money, which fits in quite nicely with today's conversation. We'll be right back. Get in the queue, 909-202-8674. Here we go. Time Is Not Money.
Woke up late, lost my wallet. I can't find my left shoe. Duct tape will do. Running out the door, fall down, but I pick myself up off the ground. Keep on running, 'cause it's no problem. No problem at all. And if you've got a problem, then you got a problem. I choose to let the universe lead me. It always leads me, taking me into time. And time is all you got. Time is all you got. Time is all you got. Time is all I got. Problem at all. And if you've got a problem, then you've got a problem. I choose to let the universe lead me. It always leads me, taking me into time. And time is all you got. Time is all I got. Time is all you got. Time is all I got. rush of the front yard. That's all I know, not much to say. It's no problem at all. And if you've got a problem, then you've got a problem. I choose to let the universe lead me. It always leads me, taking me into time. Time is all you got. Time is all I got. Time is all you got. Time's not money.
Sing it, John, and tell us the truth of the times right there. Time is not money. Money is not time. Money is a medium of exchange and nothing more. It doesn't have a personality. It's not an authority figure. It doesn't get to tell us what to do. It doesn't get to boss us around. And it does all those things anyway. What the heck? When did we get doing that? Why did we sign up for that plan? I'm serious. Why did we do that? Well,
you know how everybody talks about sort of the financial system collapsing?
Yeah.
I wonder what authority figure we're going to pick up on then. I mean, what do we transfer our fear to? I wouldn't have anything to worry about, I don't think.
You're hilarious. Let's be in the future just a teeny bit. And also, the money system is going to collapse conversation. I'm not an economist by any means, but the bottom line is if money is a medium of exchange, then we're going to have to find another way to exchange. And personally, I'm not interested in trying to barter with everybody I need stuff from. Can you imagine going to the electric company, standing in line? What are you going to get? What are you going to give them? I can give you a private session with Elohim. I mean, what am I going to give them? I'm not a farmer. I'm not a hunter. I'm not what is valued by them that I have other than some value someone has for what I do that we change into money, and then I give that money to them at a set rate so that I don't have to find something they want. One time I had somebody tell me that it was improper for me to charge for what I do and that I should only take handicrafts and casseroles.
Well,
yeah. I mean, the casseroles would be good. Then you wouldn't have to cook.
Right.
Yeah. Handicrafts and casseroles were the only thing that person thought that I was allowed to take in exchange for the work I do. Now, I don't know about you, but recently we had to invest in some more audio equipment and some lights and things like that in order to give the folks on the Internet a professional presentation. And I'm not sure that that company on the Internet that we ordered the lights from wants the casserole that the lady from New York mailed to me.
Right.
And now I've got a casserole. And what am I supposed to do? Somehow mail that back to New York for my lights?
Right.
And how many casseroles equals 3 light boom stand? That's why we have money. We don't have money to control us. We have money so that we can exchange goods and services in a set way. And if the financial system collapses, something will have to rise up in its place. And I don't know what that would be, and I think we'd go through a lot of hell in the meantime.
Right. Yeah.
If tomorrow there was no money, it wouldn't be that we would feel safe.
Well, not to get into this subject in any great depth, but some people would already say the financial system has collapsed and we're just living on fake money, which is kind of cool.
Well, so Melissa on the chat room said that it's 67 casseroles, just in case anyone was wondering. Holy moly, that's a lot of casseroles, Melissa. So if we're living on fake money, it's fake that 67 casseroles buys 3 lights,
right?
Too. Right? Now, of course, there's lots of other stuff going on in the financial system I'm not getting into because I can't speak on that level. What I can say is that when people talk in very general terms about the financial system collapsing and that'll be better, you got to remember, I always just wonder if these people have never read any science fiction in their lives. A lot of times when people say the aliens are coming, the financial system's collapsing, I have this big question in my mind. Have you ever read science fiction in your entire life? We've worked this out. It doesn't go well. So I'm not saying the financial system doesn't deserve some kind of high vibrational infusement, because every system does.
Right.
But if you say to me, money's going to disappear tomorrow and your life's going to get better, I think you're mistaken. That's my personal belief, and we have a caller, so let's see what they have to add. Oh, come on. There we go. Hello, caller from area code 562.
Hello, it's Mary again.
Mary.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Hey, Mary again. Oh, apparently, just to let you know, it's 69.2 casseroles plus tax paid in knitting needles that we have to.
I'm not very good at casseroles, but I can do chocolate.
That's true, and your chocolate is excellent. So
it's the day for it, right? It's the day for it.
It's the day for good chocolate, and if we could pay for, the things we need in that, Mary George needs a part for one of the laptops, so we're going to have you mail us some chocolates.
Okay.
I don't know how you're going to get the sugar and stuff that you need to make the chocolate. That's your business, right? But we need the chocolate, and we hope. I don't know how we pay the postman. What do we pay the postman with? Extra chocolate. We need more chocolate from you to pay the postman to bring us.
All right.
I think we get Randy Sue to train the bees to carry the chocolate or something like that. We must have someone who owns a pony. That would work. Anyway, I didn't get to listen to all the money talk from Elohim yet. But one of the things that came up for me real strongly was when they said, we don't know how to be rich. And the alternate expressions or past lives for me are, my DNA is deeply Irish. And I realized, at this very late date in life that having a lot of money meant I associated with the man. Like that boot on my neck, I didn't have boots, and the boot on my neck was abundance or money, not abundance, but money. And if I had money, I feared that I would turn into an ass, because so many lifetimes the money and coins and gold and jewels and all that stuff were owned by the ruling class men in Western civilization. And I realized this when I was triggered by, I would get mad at my husband and I'd say stuff like, you should be happy that I make do. You should be happy that you married an aging hippie who doesn't want diamond rings and get her hair done every week and all that stuff. And I'd be angry about it for not having the money to do that. And then say, it's my communal hippie, let's not have more than we need mentality. So I don't know if Elohim spoke to that yet on the thing or what you guys have to say, but I think there's an awful lot of light workers who have that one.
Yeah. I totally have that one.
Yeah, if you say to yourself, I can make do, then, or I only need enough, then you don't get any more. And then, I have enough to eat or pay the rent. Aren't I lucky?
Yeah, I'm realizing it ties into so much around, again, around those lies that we tell ourselves too, like I don't matter, or I'm going to stay small, so I don't need much. Everybody else around me needs more than me, and I'm fine.
Or or for me, that thing of the misassociation with being a good person. Even the Catholic thing. If you're poor, you're good.
Yeah.
If you're rich, you're suspect. You can't go through the eye of the needle. Right?
Yeah.
While the Pope is having people kiss his big rings. It's just such I guess we're on radio, so watch my language, but
good girl.
It's like a DNA thing in, I think, a lot of us of like the DNA that says, my people starved, or, so I need to hoard food. We were oppressed by rich people, so we don't want to be them.
Yeah, that whole thing that, the rich people are the jerks, so I don't want to be rich. I only want to be okay because maybe I only deserve okay. And, yeah, that one is is interesting because it comes up in a lot of ways. Like when I talk about my income, I find myself wanting to say, but, it all went out to expenses. Like it's not okay to have income.
Right.
It's only okay to have income if there's equal expenses. That's like, hang on a minute. Who said that? And the whole idea of what we think rich people are like, and again, it's like high vibrational light workers. There aren't that many that you can look at in the public eye and say, look at him. He's a high vibrational light worker, and use that as like a role model. There really aren't. Mm-hmm. And because of the way the media works, we don't hear about people doing high vibrational things with their money, high vibrational rich people, conscious rich people. We don't hear about them because I don't know about you, but as a conscious rich person, I'm probably not going to want to be on the front page of the National Enquirer doing stuff like that.
Right,
so
exactly.
We don't hear about those people. And because we don't hear about them, we don't have role models, and we have all this past life stuff and DNA-driven ideas that say, if you're rich, you're the oppressor. If you're rich, you're taking from somebody else. If you're rich, you're taking more than your fair share, and it never ends with the bad things rich people are. Therefore, somehow it's good to be poor, but I hate being poor because then I struggle and suffer, and so it's wrong to be poor and it's wrong to be rich. Forget it.
Right. Right. And that the best way that you could be would be this like old-fashioned middle class, which was you had enough on your farm to take a basket to the poorer people, but you weren't the tip top, you weren't in the guild, and you weren't the kings and the royalty, but you weren't so poor. You were just poor enough to have a couple extra potatoes to give to somebody, and that got your soul into heaven. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Mary, oh my God, it's that I can't believe we did it, and please God don't let it be true, all wrapped up in the same sentiment. Oh my God.
Thanks for that.
It has the cutest energetic behind it that I feel when you said that. It was like a prayer and cussing at the same time.
Well, I really am checking myself here because the Irish DNA also comes through when you're driving and people are in your way in the road. So.
Totally.
Oh, boy.
Thank you so much for calling in. It's good to hear your voice.
Thanks, you guys. Have a good day.
Afternoon.
Bye.
She really does make good chocolate. Suppose if we're thinking of something to pay with, I would say chocolate would be good. When we look at money and we look at not having it, one of the things Elohim has been very careful to teach us is to be extremely cautious about deciding ahead of time if you can afford to pay your rent or pay your bills. The idea that today's the 14th. Oh, it's the middle of the month. Do I have enough for the rent at the end of the month? And if you don't, saying, I can't pay my rent for the next 2 weeks, rather than saying, okay, rent's due in 2 weeks, period, full stop, moving on to what fascinates you so you can be magnetic. They've been talking a lot lately about the idea of being magnetic to the things we want rather than trying to create or grab an outcome and pull it toward us like on a fishing pole. And that is not that straightforward because it's so much easier to just do what we've always done, even though it leads to suffering, than it is to be in that space of unknown that says, I'm going to try this new thing. And if it doesn't work, I won't be able to pay my rent.
Right.
And I don't feel like I can pay my rent anyway, so why not try something new? Because the old way's not working. Like we talked about to the caller earlier. She's like, the old way's not working. The old way's not working. Leaning into the new way is a real interesting journey.
We'll talk a little bit about that vision board versus Yeah.
Yeah, Elohim's never been especially a big fan of the vision board idea. A lot of times the vision board thing, and I know it works for people, so if it works for you, keep doing it. But if it doesn't work for you and you're feeling like you suck because of that, this might be part of the reason why. You put the pictures up there of what you want, you stare at it, and what Elohim hears people saying is, I can't have that, I don't have that, I'll never have that, this is stupid for me hanging this up here. They don't necessarily hear people saying, I deserve that, that's real in my life, that's a truth in my life. So what they focus on is clearing out what they call baggage and static between you and the things you desire. rather than putting your thing that you desire up there on the wall and having sort of this I'll never have it relationship. And then when you get it, being surprised.
Right.
Like, oh, it came true. My vision board came true. Cool. But do you feel like you kind of lucked into it?
Right.
Or do you feel like you're creating new neural pathways, new healthy habits that generate you magnetizing what you need? Now, here's a fine example of this kind of a thing. I thought I wanted one of those Microsoft Surface tablets because it comes with Microsoft Word so that I could do editing of the books without having to sit at my computer all day long, because I just get really tired sitting at the computer all day long. So I could do it in the hammock, I could do it on the couch, I could do it at the coffee shop, whatever. And because that Microsoft Surface tablet comes with Word installed, that was preferable to me than like an iPad. Plus, I don't know how to use Macs. So that was my preconceived notion, right? And my preconceived notion was, where am I going to get $500 to buy the damn thing? So if I had stayed with a picture of it going, every time I saw that picture, I know myself, I'd have been like, I don't have $500, I have to pay my taxes. So until I pay my taxes, I can't think about it. And I would have had this whole story every time I saw the picture. And I would have had to really fight with myself and say, but, maybe I deserve it. And then not I deserve, I'm not worthy, all that crap would have come up. Right? That wouldn't help me one damn bit. So instead, what I did was I thought more about the thing I wanted to feel, which was ease of editing the books, comfort in editing the books, more places I could edit the books, and feel more comfortable doing so. And I was talking to a friend, and the friend said, you know, you might just want to get a new laptop, because my old laptop, the battery died, and it's kind of old. It's really old, and it gets really hot on my lap. He says, the new laptops don't do that. You could get yourself one of those things that you put on your lap and then put the computer on, and maybe that would work out better for you. Now, if you imagine buying a laptop, you might say, Veronica, that's going to cost way more than $500. You don't have Mary George. I have Mary George. And Mary George is a PC tech, and she goes around to people's houses helping them with their computers. And they're forever giving her stuff. The printer's sitting on my desk right now. Somebody got a new one and gave her the old one, and it works perfectly fine. And she had told me the week before, do you need a laptop? I have an extra one. So it's the thing I actually wanted, not the mechanism I was thinking I needed, right? And that, to me, is the difference between vision board and magnetizing. I magnetize my need met rather than did what I thought was going to make me feel better, or throw up a bunch of static because I didn't believe I could possibly have that thing anyway. Right? So that to me is really powerful.
And that comes more from a place of feeling than a place of thinking.
Okay. I believe you.
Because you mentioned that.
Yeah.
You said you felt into what it was you actually
Yeah.
wanted. I think that's a step that's important to remember.
It's really easy to get into what you think the solution is and then to try to make that solution happen. And that's Elohim's tool step by step, right? Each step of the process, evaluate. Does this fit the need better? And when Mary said, I have an extra laptop, it was like, oh, you do? And then my friend said, that would probably work better for you. And it was like, well, I can at least try it. I'll try that. Because one, it's free. And two, I already know how to work a laptop. There wouldn't be a learning curve. Mostly it's because it has a built-in keyboard and, it's just a more familiar operating system. Yeah. So that's the plan. Now, the key here is to sit in, that's the plan, ask for insight. Because it's not, that's the plan, we're going to do that. It's, that's the new plan. The new plan is not to try to figure out how to afford a Surface. The new plan is to say, Mary's going to bring me a laptop. Then I'll try that. Then we'll see. And saying, okay, solve problem. No, that's not the answer. And it's holding those reins back, especially for somebody like me, who's like a go, go, go person, holding those reins back into still staying with the moment. Because tomorrow somebody may give me a Microsoft Surface or an iPad or God knows what. I may give up on writing books. Ha, ha, ha. Infinite possibilities. That's the unlikely one. You know what? I want to play another song because it's Valentine's Day. And they have this beautiful love song. This is still 10-foot tone. This is, I just love this song. Oh, God.
All right, we'll be back. Hey, if you want to be on the phone with us when we come back from the song, go dial in while the song's playing, 909-202-8674. We sure would like to add your voice to this conversation, 909-202-8674. Here is Ever After by 10 Foot Tone. We'll be back.
Against the backdrop of use of chatter, let me take you tonight into ever after. Here I go. Tomorrow's not here, but you know that it matters. Let me kiss your smile and taste your laughter. Here I go. Loving you. There I go. Loving you again, loving you again, loving you again. No.
Okay, apparently Blog Talk does not like my beautiful song. We don't know if that was sounding bad for you guys. Let's go to another one and see if this one works better, and I'll see if I can fix that one for you. Sorry about that. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Hang on, here we go. Okay, apparently we don't get to have a song today. The song thing is not working. Why is the song thing not working? I'm sad about that. I had picked out these special songs for you guys. Let me just see if, I don't know what's going on. That's very strange. Oh well. I suppose we just need to talk more then. I was very excited to play those songs for you, but we'll just save them for next show, and I don't know what the heck is going on. We'll have to do some research. We will have to do some research. Anyway, if you want to join the conversation, we'd love to hear what you have to say, 909-202-8674, 909-202-8674. I think it's time to talk about Elohim's tool. You know, they've got this great tool, and I love it, and I think it's very helpful, and hopefully this sounds right. Let's see if it does. Hang on, let's give it a play.
How can I discover any beliefs that might be causing me to push money away?
This is a fun one to use a tool on. Get yourself whatever denomination of your money that feels comfortable, and put it someplace in your house that you have to deal with a lot. On your dresser, on the kitchen counter, not like on the fridge, right? This is a place where you have to interact with it, where you might have to move it around to use that space. On the bathroom sink would be an interesting place to put it. And then interact with it. Interact with it. Pick it up and move it when you're dusting. Pick it up and move it when you have to make your dinner. Pick it up and move it when you have to brush your teeth or wash your face. And feel into what you experience as you do that. Is money dirty? Is it nasty? Are you afraid to have it on your kitchen counter with your food?
Oh, now that's a question, isn't it? That is the question. What is your relationship to the actual physical medium of money?
I'm fine with it.
Isn't that great? You're fixed. An hour with the Elohim conversation on money, and you are fixed. No more money issues for you.
Makes me feel happy when I have a lot of money sitting in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then it's the whole safety thing.
Yeah.
Do you do the do you do the thing of like someone's going to come and steal it?
Yeah, it's funny. I just had this picture of like somebody coming in with a like a hair dryer and just blowing it all over the place, and me scrambling desperately trying to pick it up. Oh, dear.
What about you guys? Come on, call in and tell us what happens when you think about this tool. 909-202-8674. Sue admitted that she feels like it blows around my hair dryer. Yours can't be that much weirder than that one. 909-202-8674. Yeah, I have the I let it breathe thing going on that I talked about earlier, and the idea of having money around in that way doesn't bug me. I don't get weirded out by that. Luckily, that's not where my mind lands. When I was much younger, I used to drive around and pay my bills to the actual counter of the business because I was afraid to mail it, because I was afraid it wouldn't get there. Not really realizing that, like, if you mail your electric bill and it doesn't get there, they just send you a double bill next month, not realizing those things, feeling super unsafe about the idea that if the money's in the mail, that it's dangerous. God, man, I tell you, I have had money issues up the wazoo. Here's my favorite story. Since I'm telling stories on myself, I can't even blame Elohim today. I used to work for a very large bank, and I worked in the corporate center, so we dealt with large corporate clients. Ironically, my client was the IRS. So all I ever did was push buttons on a computer, but it moved, this time of year, huge numbers of money from one account to the other. Basically, that was my job. I showed up in the morning, I typed in some numbers, and so long as I did it by 10 o'clock, everybody was happy. And oh, God, what a ridiculous job that was in so many ways. But anyway, the whole time I worked for the bank, I never touched a dollar that didn't belong to me. Like I wasn't a teller. I never did any of that. I worked on the 5th floor. I never saw customers. And we had an ATM in our building on the 10th floor. And I just had no money. Literally, my bank account was dry. I had no money. I knew I had like $21.48 in the bank. And I was so hungry because I didn't have any food. And I just was like, I don't know how you can, anyway, middle-class America impoverished moment for me. And I just said, this went on for like 5 days. It was horrible. So finally I just said, forget it. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to take out that $20 and I'm going to go across the street to Burger King and I'm going to get myself some lunch, and that's just going to be the way it is. So I go up the elevator. I stand in line for the ATM. Now you have to remember, the whole time thinking I have $21.48. I put my card in there and it says something like $542. And I just stared at the number on the screen and I realized I had forgotten to write my late, because I had direct deposit, I had forgotten to write my paycheck in my bank book thingy. Yes, they trusted me with the IRS money, but not my own. And so I basically thought I was starving to death for 5 days and that I was going to die for 5 days when I had $500 sitting in the bank. That was another low moment. Okay, back to you guys. We have a caller. Oh, caller from area code 248. Thanks for joining the program.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Tiffany.
Oh, we thought it was Tiffany. How are you, sweetie pie?
I am trying to be abundant.
Okay, that's one way to start the conversation. What else you got?
I was just thinking about what I would do with the money in front of me. And for me, I get like super excited, like I have to go and now I can do stuff. Now I can go and get rid of it because I can use it. And life opens up for me. And almost kind of like, I guess if you, I don't know, you just get like a dog gets really excited when it's got a toy. That's how money makes me feel if I have it in front of me.
So do you blow it or do you do things that you feel good about later?
Both.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a lot of it, I don't know. I don't know. I'm such a different person now, and I haven't had money for a while, like in real consequential amounts. So I don't know what I would do with it now. Yeah. But I just know before, I would tend to blow it. I wouldn't understand that the possibilities and the potentials of stretching it or investing, or like it was just something I felt like, so, oh my God, I got to use it now.
Yeah.
I guess it would be lack, but in a weird way, and a fear of lack, but like I got to do it now.
That's really fascinating, the idea that there it is, so I've got to spend it. And I've got to spend it because. So what's the because? You've got to spend it because it makes you feel nervous to have it around, or just because you think it's going to give you some fun?
Yeah, it's really it opens up my freedom. Now what can I do? Or I'll find somebody else to spend it on or whatever.
Yeah, it's now what can I do, but it doesn't feel like it makes you feel good about yourself necessarily as much as it just makes you feel like you did something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that's interesting about the energetic you're showing is like instead of it being now I can do this thing I've wanted to do for a real long time, or now I can pay this bill that's been bugging me, or now that I can do whatever, it's more like now I can just do something. It's like it's like an impulse rather than it being a conscious, this is important to my life kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you took like $1, $1, and put it on your counter and started working with just even a small amount, I think that might still be interesting to you. It doesn't have to be $100 to make it be an effective tool. I think, in fact, it's even more interesting with $1 because $1 is so easy to disregard. So if you use it,
that's what I was going to say, because I have change around, and I'm sitting here bumming. I literally just asked for the guy at work if I could loan $20 so I could fill up my tank, but I have like 10 cents laying on my counter, and like that doesn't. I don't even think about it unless I'm like trying to find bottles to cash in or something. Yeah. But I guess really that's kind of what this time in my life is showing me.
Mm-hmm.
How the worth of just $1. Like I literally, I survive off of putting $5 in my tank, and I don't know where I'm getting it next. And it's exciting to not, to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like this is the first time in my life I'm not really like, well, also too I live with my parents, so I'm not like completely pressed, but I don't make any income. And I shouldn't say that. I get $100 at the end of the month. But anyway, but it's so raw right now. Like, okay, the $1 can actually get me my next step, but this time it's important. Like, the worth of it all comes together. I don't know how to put the words together, but
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I really think I'm really getting a strong, impulse, energy, intuition, Elohim screaming at me. I don't know who it is, but that just start with the smallest amount. I would start with that dime. I would take that dime that you said you have. I would put it someplace and treat it as if it's really important and see what that brings up in you. Because what tends to happen is people see the money, they see it laying there, and they realize, like you did, that I can ignore that dime, but I wouldn't ignore $1. Maybe I wouldn't ignore $2. Maybe I would ignore $3, but not $4. And just learning those things about yourself is just learning them and knowing those things. I have seen make huge transformation in people. And it's a funny thing because you think, why? Don't ask why. Just do it and see what happens. And I would start with that dime and see how precious you can feel, not because it's even giving you anything other than healing around your feelings around money coming in and not coming in.
Yeah. There's just one last thing I wanted to say, too,
sure.
that it's actually coming to light today because it's Valentine's Day. And actually, because I have a friend of mine that I can go see tonight, but I need gas, like, all of a sudden I'm, like, opening up, like, where can I get it? Oh, like, I can pawn this. I can do that. Like, but that is more important to me than me doing things that are actually, like, worth, I don't know. So it's showing me that, like, I really am still kind of impulsive.
You heard me ask you, like, right? I felt that.
Yeah.
And
it's a little bit like somebody said what they had to do was freeze their credit cards in water. They put their credit cards in water and they froze them in the freezer so that if they ever wanted to buy something, they had to wait for that to defrost. And that time of it defrosting gave them time to consider if they would want that thing a day from now, a week from now, 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Now, people will say, oh, well, all you got to do is run hot water on. All you got to do is microwave. That's not the point. The point is to
microwave it. I don't think it'll be useful after that.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is to take that minute to say, does this invest in me, or does this just give me something in this moment that maybe isn't something that lasts? Like investing in things that last. People will say buy quality products because they last longer even if they cost more. I feel like for you it's, am I investing in me? That's the question to ask yourself.
And I just realized, too, something else just came up. I almost feel like I don't deserve to have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because I was never good with it.
Well, and now you get to practice with your dime.
Yes.
And you're an artist. I think you should do a little art project around your dime. I really think you should. And just go crazy with the idea of this dime is that cool and important. I think energetically it could be really powerful for you, dear.
I will try that.
It was so sweet to hear your voice. You have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You guys too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah. We have another caller. Hello there, area code 919. How are you?
Good. Happy Valentine's Day, girls.
Thanks, dear. How are you? Carrie on the phone saying hi to us.
Yes, I was actually calling because I wanted to share this really interesting thing about money that's come up for me. And I know you guys both know that I recently quit my job, and I knew that I never really felt like I had a big issue with money before. Things always kind of worked out for me, and I never really paid a lot of attention to it. But then I kind of was expecting when I quit this job, I'm going to really watch and see what happens with the whole money thing and see how I wanted to be real conscious about it and watch it and stuff. And I picked up on a couple of things that I was doing, which was like not spending a lot, thinking, okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot because I'm not sure where the money's going to be coming from. So I saw that, and then I tried to work on not putting too much habitual thought into that and doing more hamster wheel and being obsessive about it. But then, like, this really interesting thing popped up, which I wasn't expecting, which was how I usually help my family out a lot when it comes to money. I always create those experiences where I'm handing out money to them, and it's been like a big part of my relationship with them. And now that I've stopped doing that, which was really hard at first, but now I'm kind of enjoying saying no. It's really weird. But I've started being like, yeah, no, I really can't help you out with that. And then I walk away and I just feel like I'm not attached to so much of a negative feel. I don't know. It's this really weird thing going on. I'm still exploring it. But what's really interesting about it is that now I don't really have that much interaction with them. So money was like a big part of my relationship with them and my interaction with them that I never really saw. I mean, I know I was giving them a lot of money, but I didn't think that when I stopped the flow of money to them that I wouldn't see them that much. I didn't realize how big of an interaction part it was with them. So that's been really interesting for me to look at. And now I'm just I haven't really done anything about it. I'm just kind of seeing how it's playing out. And
what does that do to you emotionally?
Well, I was thinking about, one, I feel more free. I've just been feeling more positive about it than negative, which for me in the past it's always been more of a negative thing. Like it would bring me down with my family. It was there was a lot of like, kind of like what was discussed last night during the meeting about a lot of service mentality. There was a lot of that in it. And now that I've stopped that, I just feel a lot lighter, freer. I feel more positive, and I can see them with their stories kind of outside of it playing out so much with my energy. Like I can just see the situation and not feel so brought down by it. So I'm still not sure 100% how it's going to make me feel in a long term kind of thing, but right now I'm just feeling better. And
how are you feeling physically?
Physically? Oh, better too. Like, because I've been having a lot of problems with my ear and
right. That's what I was wondering about. Yeah.
the pain has just started changing. It's changing. I mean, I still have pain, but it's changed in the sensation and how long I'm in pain for, and it pops up in different times of the day than it used to. The pain has been great, too, because I've been able to, I really look at my body differently because of the pain. The pain has been, it's been painful, but great at the same time, because I learned a lot about my body with it. I pay attention to the sensations and stuff, and that's been interesting, too.
I didn't mean to move off the money part, but I was just wondering if it had any correlation between the two.
But it definitely is, too, because the money has played a little bit of part, and some of it I feel like I really need to find out where I can get stable money from so that I can afford medicine and that stuff. So that came up a little bit for a while, and then I kind of put that on the shelf and just let that be. And my pain has started transforming anyway on its own, so I don't really give too much energy into that thought anymore like I used to. So money definitely ties into that too in a different way.
Well, Elohim always says you can't have change without change, and look at what you did. You quit your job, and now your whole relationship with your family has changed. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Does it generate any feelings around, like, sadness that they don't want to be in your life, or that they're in your life in a different way? Or is it, and on some level, I feel like it might be kind of relief, too. Where do you go emotionally with that?
I would have thought that I would have went more into the sadness, but for me right now, it's just making me feel so much better. I can't look anywhere other than, wow, I feel so much better.
Yeah, why bother?
That's good. I'm glad. I'm so happy for you. That's just extraordinary that you were able to be that courageous and face, so many big changes in such a conscious way. I'm very, very, very impressed.
Thank you. It's all the work too, from the meetings and from the tools, and really big. It's definitely big from the tools and the information that I've learned, and kind of then took and discovered on things about myself too. It's been a pretty interesting journey. I'm really loving it.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Well, it's a blessing to have you as part of it for sure. So we're very grateful for you and for Ryan, of course, that you're part of the community and so generous with your time and your skills that I can never thank you enough. Really, I can't.
Yep, it's been fun, and I'm sure it's going to be continuing to be fun, and I like being a part of it in that way that I can. So it's pretty cool. And I haven't listened to the money conversations yet, but I'm kind of watching this all play out a little bit for a little while before I start looking at it in different ways too. I'm just having so much fun the way it is. So once I listen to the money thing, I'm sure that I'll get some more clarity on it and some more ways of looking at it and have some more fun with it too.
Yeah, there's a section about sort of dealing with the relatives that want money from you or that don't have as much money as you have, and there's a whole section in that talk about that. So it'll be interesting to see once you get to the point where you want more input on what you're doing, to see how that tracks with what Elohim said and what you discovered on your own. And it sounds to me very closely like you're discovering just exactly what they shared in the talk. So very, very cool.
Very cool. Awesome.
Go you.
I look forward to
Go
it.
you. Go you. All right, Miss Carrie. You take care.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
She's such a sweetheart. Even her voice is so sweet. But she's just sweet in person, just amazingly sweet in person. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Carrie and her partner Ryan built my website, and Carrie does all the graphic work that we're doing. I mean, the beautiful things that we have that we're putting out, Carrie does all those graphics, and she's just awesome. Very generous, very skilled, super, super, super talented, creative. Girl's got all kinds of good things going on. Well, do we dare try another song? Let's dare try another song and just see if it's the whole system or if it was just those new uploads. I'm going to play Rays of Light. I don't think I played that one for you guys last time. Okay, let's try it. If it doesn't work, we'll come right back. Here we go. Rays of Light by 10 Foot Tone. Okay, fine then. Fine then. We won't play songs. It sounds like they're playing a steel guitar while on some kind of underwater on drugs. All right, folks. Well, we're about ready to wrap up. If you want to add to the conversation, now's the time. 909-202-8674. 909-202-8674. We'd love to have your thoughts before we go. What did we learn today, Sue?
We learned. I'm trying to think. Well, I find that I empathize so much with everyone that I kind of live in that moment that they're talking about. So what did I learn? I learned, one of the things I wanted to mention to Tiffany, or it was something I thought of while Tiffany was talking. When I was early in my 20s, probably 20, 21, I lived on a commune in Tennessee, and we had a big glass jar at the back door, and whatever change we had or dollar bills, we would throw in that, and there were probably 12 of us there. And if we needed money, which we didn't usually need much of it, we would just put our hand in the jar and take it. And I'm thinking of all the manifestations and ways in which I've lived with money, kind of like you were talking about. I mean, I was a single mom with no money. I was, living on a commune with a jar of a little bit of money, and then, sort of progressing through and now being back in a place of fear around money, which is really just fascinating. That I think you just go through these different life experiences with money, and each time, if you can be conscious about it and really work with it, you learn a lot. And I guess that's what I've learned today is just how, again, Tiffany was talking about how when she has money, she just wants to have fun. When I have money, all I want to do is hold on to it because I feel like I need to stockpile it for some reason. So I don't know how to experience fun with money. So just all the variations and ebbs and flows around the money discussion is really fascinating to me, and it just reminds me about how conscious we really need to be when we're talking about money.
Yeah. And that reminder, that money is a medium of exchange. I don't think that can be emphasized enough, because I tell you, we got questions from 40 people maybe that they wanted Elohim to answer during this conversation that we recorded, and so many of them gave money a personality. It was shocking to me.
Yeah.
It was as though it was a man. It had a very male thing, and it was as though he was a man doing bad things to you, or telling you bad things, or going to do bad things. The questions, we could have changed money to a male name, and they would have still made sense, a lot of them. So I think that's something to be extra sensitive about, is when we give money a personality rather than see it as a medium of exchange. And I was realizing as you were talking that when I have money, I pay bills with it. Like, I want to pay my bills. I want to pay my bills right away. And that really comes back to the authority figure piece. Like, good girls pay their bills on time. Good girls pay their bills right away. Good girls don't have debt. That place in me is louder than I realized until you just started talking. So I appreciate you sharing that, because it was just like, whoa, okay. No wonder it scared me so much when the taxes were overdue, is because that is obviously a place where that money thing, that authority figure around money shows up. And I think that's the kinds of things you can discover when you just leave some money laying around and see what happens within you as you do so. And nobody mentioned it today, but when Elohim was talking about that tool, they were very clear that they felt a lot of energy from people around the idea that money's dirty, wrong, bad, and putting money in some place where you don't put dirty things, like the kitchen counter or the bathroom counter, was
they felt was a really good exercise in discovering it. They had a tool a while back around cleaning up your house or cleaning out your house, getting rid of extra stuff, where they said, if you're not sure that you want something around, put it in the middle of the hallway or the kitchen or the living room floor, where you really have to interact with it all the time, and you'll know really fast whether it feels like it's something that's precious to you, that, oh, God, I wouldn't want to step on it, kick it over, or if it's something that you're just like, dear God, how fast can the Salvation Army truck come and get this damn thing out of my house? And I think you could do the same thing with money. Put it on the floor. Oh, no, we don't put money on the floor. We don't treat it with disrespect.
Right.
Crumple it up. Do weird things with it and see. I know for me personally what has happened was that I have this number. I call it my number. And it's the amount of money I can spend without feeling like I have to think about it hard. And back in the day, as I explained earlier, it was like a quarter.
Right.
Or 50 cents.
Right.
Terrifying. And now it's about $30. So if something's less than $30 and I want it, I don't think about it. It just saves me a lot of processing time because there's a lot of things I have to consider deeply. If it's less than $30, the blender broke. Get a new blender. It's $29. Just send it to me, Amazon. Don't make me think about it, right? If I'm shopping and I see something that I think would look nice in front of the blue curtain on the show and it's $20, I just buy it because I've given myself permission to say below this number, I don't have to process. Because above that number, a lot of processing takes place.
Yeah.
And when that number was 50 cents, you can't even buy a candy bar without processing.
Right.
And dear God, was that exhausting. And it's been very fascinating to see that number change over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why, like last night, we went out to dinner before the meeting, and I bought you dinner because the whole bill was $22. It's not something I have to process. It's I want to do something, I'm going to do it because it's under $30. I have this little fantasy that number will go up someday. And I'm thinking, well, how fun it will be when it's like 50, because it'll be different. But I've watched it. I remember when it used to be 10, and I remember when it used to be 20. And actually what changed it was I started doing jewelry and going to bead shows and buying beads. And I found myself saying, well, this string of beads is $15. I like it. I know what I could use it for. I don't have to process about it. So it trained me by buying all these beads. It trained me to see where the point was I really thought about it. I'm attracted to it. It's something I know I'll use. It's something I'm ready. I have an idea about. It's $15. I'll buy it. And then what happened is I went to a clothing store, and I've always way over-processed buying clothing, just off the hook over-processed buying clothing. And I realized they had the shirt. It was on sale. It fit nicely. It was $15. And I thought, this is a strand of beads. And as soon as I made that connection, I started having this number thing. Mm-hmm. And the number thing has served me so beautifully. I just, what a relief. So if any part of my money story, because this call has been hard, because there's, this is not something I feel like I've got a big handle on, but it's helpful to talk and look at it with everybody. If any part of my money story feels really good, it's the part where I say, I have that number, and below that number I don't have to process. And I can remember when the number was a quarter, so it's not like your number has to be 30 in order to use this tool.
Right.
We have a little help out here on the chat. On the man authority point, funny that Old English slang for buck was bob, like 5 bob, where Americans would say $5. I didn't know that. 5 bob. See? It's always been a guy. Blame the men. It's all their fault. Those authority figures. So what do you think in your financial life is working? Like, that's my thing that's working. Ta-da! Hallelujah.
I feel like a deer in headlights right now.
Yeah.
What's working?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's avoidance, which is really a bad answer. Okay, I shouldn't say bad.
You're just taking care of the judgment, persecution, and sentencing of your own inner thoughts there. You're the whole thing, judge, jury, executioner.
Avoidance in that I'm not really, I know that I don't spend money. I know that I'm frugal. And So the avoidance is not looking at that sheet, that spreadsheet that says, wow, you're going in the hole.
That's the thing that's working for you?
Strangely, yes, it is, because it's opened up, well, and again, just being in the moment. Whenever panic starts, and panic doesn't have to be tied to anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be triggered by anything, but it's always panic around money. Like, am I using it correctly? Using it correctly, and now that mainly boils down to, am I staying in an apartment that I might leave because it costs money? And so if I get triggered by that, it's, again, just staying in the moment and saying, I'm here right now, I want to enjoy right now, and just mellow out about it and keep options open if necessary, but that's not what's happening right now.
We have another caller. Let's bring somebody else in on the conversation. Hi, caller from area code 720.
Hi, I just called to listen in. I just got on, so I wasn't sure what you were into except the money thing, but it looked like the explanation on your site was kind of what I have fears of things and stuff, so.
Yeah, we've been talking about money for about an hour and a half now, and the idea that, the various challenges around money, and now we're talking about what's working in our money lives. Because we talked about what wasn't working for an hour and a half, so we decided to talk about something that's working. Did you want to share? You want me?
I'm trying to make an inheritance work for me, because I'm trying not to have to go back to the field of mortgage banking, which I was in for 27 years, and it's just awful, and for me at least, and. So I'm using a guy who's helping me do option trading, and that's working out okay. But I'm trying to look for maybe a new business to get into or something other way to focus, so I can have several different things going on at one time.
Yeah, I've always been that kind of a person. I've always had multiple jobs, multiple things happening. Before I started doing the channeling full time, I would have like 3 or 4 part-time jobs. That's the only way I could stay sane. I couldn't do just one job or have one, like all my irons in one fire. That never felt good to me. That wasn't my thing at all, ever. And as Elohim likes to say, money comes to us in infinite ways. So I support that idea because that's the way I function. But, I know other people who they want that paycheck every 2 weeks, go straight into my bank. I know exactly how much it's going to be. And that makes them feel like they're doing the right things with their money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've owned my own business for 15 years, and I shut it down at the end of this last year. But so I'm kind of free-falling, as I say right now. But I got used to not having a paycheck all the time, and I'm also trying to get more. I'm trying to come up with something else I can do for a business that would be maybe more enjoyable and creative than just pushing paper like I did so long, So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. And how do you feel like you open up to that? What opens up to that?
Well, right now, I feel a little bit blocked right now, but I'm trying to kind of meditate every night as I go to bed to be more open to it, because I was in the same business for so long that I have most of my friends are still in the business, and they're all going, well, you can't do anything else. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I can run a business, so I can run any kind of business. It doesn't mean that I have to be in finances. And so I'm trying to pull away from people that are giving me negative thoughts. So I'm kind of in this space right now where I'm pulling away and trying to step into a new light and think differently. That's my goal, is to think differently about it as I go into trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
Elohim has this great tool that you might have fun with and the other listeners might enjoy as well. I think it's fabulous. And that they call it the 10 ads, as in 10 advertisements. And they say when you're looking for a new place to live or a new job, especially on those two subjects,
to take a newspaper or take the online ads and just randomly pick out ads, not just ads in the section of the newspaper you would normally look in, but randomly pick out ads, cut them out, paste them in a booklet or something, and then look at each ad and see what it brings up in you. So they like to use the example of the truck driver ad. So you see the truck driver ad, and it says you have to have this class license. And you say, well, what it brings up in me is I don't have that license. And then what else? Because that normally would be the end of the question, right? I don't like to drive, or I don't have that license, so I'm not going to think about truck driver job. But as you explore the truck driver job ad, you're learning about what you do want, what you do find interesting, what is fun to you, not just what, as in your colleagues have said, you're allowed to do, capable of doing, or prepared to do. And the process of just looking at all those different ads gives you this sort of larger pot of information about what you enjoy doing or what you might enjoy doing, and it might even give you an idea that you never had before. And this has been really powerful for people. So perhaps you could give that a try and see how that feeds into what you're exploring with your meditation.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's fun, right? It's just fun to get out the ads and to go, you know, because like before I was doing channeling, I would do secretarial work. And I've been a secretary in doctors' offices and all over the place. And so every time I looked in the newspaper, I would look under admin and I would look under secretarial. I never looked under any of the other sections because I never, like your colleagues were saying, those aren't my sections of the classifieds. Well, who says? Not anymore.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to open that door. Yeah, exactly. Because I know there's something that's going to make me feel more joy and I'd like to be more helpful to people and animals and things like that. But it's just I'm kind of trying. Like I said, I'm in the kind of center stage right now of trying to walk away from the bad thoughts there.
Yeah. Well, it gives you that empowerment to consider infinite possibilities rather than this is the way it's always been. And that, I think, is a powerful, powerful process. So have fun with that. Thanks so much for tuning in. We sure appreciate you calling.
Sure. I'll listen. Thank you.
Bye-bye. The 10 ads tool. Have you done that one with anything yet?
No, I should try that. It would be a good exercise for me.
Yeah, then you can show me your ads and we can laugh about them. I have a feeling that there's a lot of laughter involved in that tool, but there also might be tears in the sense of looking at a job that maybe pays good, in quotes, and going, I'm not qualified. I suck. I should have gone to college. Why didn't I study harder? Why didn't I listen to my parents who said that I should get a PhD or whatever comes up for you, instead of just going, you know, okay, what is true now, right? And feeling into our interaction with stimulus. I think it's part of what Elohim's all about lately, especially, is feeling into the interaction with stimulus. There's a stimulus. What more is there? What more is there? Because there's just that place where it just goes, I can't because I don't have that training. I don't have that degree. I don't. Instead of, what else does it tell me? Well, it tells me that those big rig drivers make money, or it tells me that, God, they're never home, or what else does it tell you? I think it's such an important part of the conversation. What else does it tell you? We're really trained to say, oh, that's not a path for me, instead of, what about that path fascinates me, intrigues me, and shows me something more about me?
I'll tell you, though, you know, listening to that last caller, I stopped working in June, and I would say it wasn't until November or December that I was actually able to sort of to stop being numb, or I was so programmed by my routines from years of working that I honestly couldn't have told you answers to how I felt about much of anything, because I was still so exhausted from the years of stress. So I don't know if she can take some time to really just get ourselves back to a center, and then be able to look at the ads. Maybe you do it right away, or maybe you wait.
Yeah,
depends on if she needs to start working right away.
That's a really good point. Is sort of that deprogramming time.
Yeah,
that deprogramming time. We had a comment in the chat room that says, what works for me is looking at my outflow of money or choice not to outflow as a conscious act of self-expression of my values, empowerment, etc., rather than an act of spending, and that feels more empowering.
That's a good one, too.
One that I've used and I really like is, when you have credit card debt and the bill comes, there's a real temptation to look at how much interest and, oh, God, when will I ever pay it off? And now they have that thing where they tell you it's going to take you 30 years to pay it off, which I'm not sure is helpful, but whatever. And to feel guilty or bad, shamed or wrong about having debt. And I don't know who came up with this. It's not my idea or Elohim's, but the idea of saying all of those things I needed at the time.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you loaning me the money to get them.
Yeah.
And that I'm glad I'm reminding myself of. That's a good reminder for me, because it's interesting that I told you the thing that's working for me is having the number.
Mm-hmm.
I got the number from buying beads, and I paid for the beads with my credit card. This was my first choice. Yeah, that was a business that was doing well until the economy shifted, and then nobody started buying handicrafts anymore. So I have inventory that just stopped. And luckily beads some of them I have been around 100 years, and they'll be around 100 more. So I could someday pick up on the beading again. But it's definitely served me, taught me a lot about myself, about my creativity. So now when that bill comes, I'm going to have a different relationship to it as based on this conversation. I'm grateful for that.
Right. It's a good idea.
Yeah, just to be grateful that you have what those bills bought. Now, if we go back to Tiffany earlier, who felt kind of like she would splurge and blow her money, you might have that might be a challenge. So, because I'm a good girl and only spend money on important things, I don't have to do that. God, this whole talk is just like a brain buster, isn't it? Jeez Louise. I'm a good girl. Don't hate me because I have a credit card bill, Daddy. I mean, it's just sick, isn't it? And it's always a male energy for me. I never hear my mother's voice or a woman's voice saying, you're bad cuz. It's always a man's voice. It's always a male energy whenever I think I'm getting scolded. So money's not a man. This is what we've learned. Money's not a man. It's not men's fault. It's a medium of exchange that we assign value to.
Right.
And we make agreements about. Whew, what a fun time and challenging.
Yeah.
Oh. Is that a new caller? Or is that the old caller? Okay, sorry. This thing's not acting right today, and plus I'm getting used to it. We plan to have another show for you guys about the same time next month. And we're seriously considering, it's 90% sure, that the next conversation with Elohim is going to be about shame and guilt. Are we feeling good about that topic?
Yes.
Okay, so we've decided. This is how we do things around here. We get an instinct or insight, and then we just kind of go, okay, let's do that. So shame and guilt. So if you have questions about shame and guilt that you would like to have added to the list of questions that Elohim may answer in our next conversation with Elohim, please email them to us. You can email them here on the Blog Talk page, or you can go to my website, which is Elohim.com. That's ELOHEIM.com. And that will let you, you can just send us an email. And usually it takes us about a month to get that together. So if you would much rather talk to Elohim immediately about money or any other topic that we're on today, you can join our Q&A. That's going to be this Sunday at 1 o'clock Pacific. I'm putting the link in there. It's on our live stream channel. For folks who are listening later, it's new.livestream.com/Elohim.
and Elohim is spelled Elohim. We have a Q&A with the Internet people, as Elohim affectionately refers to them, the third Sunday of every month at 1 o'clock Pacific, where you submit questions by email and Elohim answers them live. And it's a fabulous community of people who do that. If you are interested in hearing last night's meeting, I still have that up on the live stream channel as well. That'll be for a limited time, but we broadcast every Wednesday meeting on our live stream channel. Again, new.livestream.com/Elohim. And you can catch up on some old meetings there, and you can also participate in our next meeting, which is every Wednesday at 7:30 Pacific time. 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. I think that's the news. Well, we have our retreat coming up. I suppose I should say something about that. Our retreat with Elohim and the Council will be September 2nd through 5th this year in Sonoma, California. It's going to be amazing. Elohim.com/retreat gets you information on that, and it's starting to fill up, which is very exciting. So if you want to come and stay at the retreat center with us, you need to book soon. And I have an early bird rate in effect right now, so you even save money if you get your deposit in this month. Elohim.com/retreat gives you more information on that. I'm sorry that the audio clips were acting up today. I can't figure out why. I think it's a Blog Talk problem. Hopefully that will be dialed in for next time, and we can play these free songs I had worked on having for you guys. I worked hard on that. I'm bummed about that. I'm like, I had a different preference. Oh, well, I'll work it out. Good job, Sue.
Good job, Veronica.
Thank you. It was just such a pleasure to be with you guys today. And again, if you follow us on Blog Talk, then you'll get notification of our next show. We haven't really set up our official schedule yet. But we're working on figuring exactly out how often we can fit this into the calendar of events we've got going on. But we'll be sure to let you know on Facebook, on Twitter, and on my website, Elohim.com. I'm playing the groovy new outro, whether it sounds goofy or not, because it's awesome. And I'm playing it, and if it sounds terrible, sorry, and we'll play it better later. Thanks, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We hope you'll join Veronica and Sue again next time. Until then, visit Elohim.com. That's Elohim.com to learn more about the teachings of the Council and their multitude of practical tools, which support our journey out of the fear-based operating system into the consciousness-based operating system. You can also see their growing library of books at Elohim.com/books, or view videos at youtube.com/Elohim channel. Elohim and Veronica, making the choice for consciousness.